My name is David, and I've been married to Claire for 8 years. From the outside, we looked steady, good jobs, a nice house, and a calendar filled with family plans. To everyone else, we were fine. But inside our home, something had been unraveling quietly. There weren't any explosive fights, no obvious betrayals. Instead, it was silence, distance, little shifts that slowly carved a canyon between us. It started with something small, her turning away when I leaned in for a kiss. The first time, I brushed it off. She said she was tired, not in the mood. I told myself every marriage has ups and downs, that love isn't always fiery, that it survives small refusals. But when it kept happening, when my attempts were met with excuses or silence again and again, it started to cut deep. A kiss isn't just lips meeting. It's a signal, proof that you're wanted, that you're still seen. Without it, I began to feel invisible. One night, after dinner, I leaned closer to kiss her goodnight. She tilted her head and offered me her cheek. I froze. Her skin felt cold, as if it no longer belonged to me. I forced a smile, pretending it didn't hurt. But inside, I felt something sinking. That moment became a pattern. Every evening I tried, and every evening she refused. Each rejection chipped away at the man I had been, the hopeful, confident husband who believed we could weather anything. Then last night, when she turned away yet again, something inside me shifted, not with anger, but with clarity. I didn't argue, didn't push. I simply said good night and rolled over, letting the weight of it settle. For the first time, I didn't resist the truth. This morning, as sunlight crept through the curtains, I lay awake and looked at her sleeping face. I realized the answer I had been avoiding. She had already made her choice, not in words, but in her constant withdrawal. She had been telling me all along where I stood. Now it was my turn to decide. I sat with my coffee, thinking back on our years together, the laughter, the road trips, the plans we once made. They felt like old photographs, beautiful but belonging to another life. I knew I couldn't keep living in that illusion. If she wouldn't open her heart to me, I had to stop, leaving mine at her feet. I didn't storm out or make a dramatic scene. My decision came quietly, the way you finally close a book you've read too many times, realizing the ending will never change. Later that day, I called my friend Mark. He's always been the kind of man who listens more than he speaks. For years, I had downplayed the state of my marriage. This time, I told him the truth, not about fights or betrayals, but about silence, about how the absence of affection can cut deeper than any argument. He didn't try to fix it for me. He just said, "Sounds like you already know." That evening, Claire came home distracted, scrolling through her phone as she set down her bag. I asked about her day, and she answered without looking up. I wanted to shout, to ask her why she had gone so far from me. Instead, I just watched her the way a stranger might. She wasn't cruel. She wasn't harsh. She was simply absent. After dinner, I didn't try for a kiss. I didn't reach for her hand. I excused myself, went to the study, and opened my laptop. I started browsing for small apartments near work. I reached out to a lawyer, not because I was angry, but because I needed clarity. I even wrote a short note to myself. You deserve to be chosen, not endured. When I came back into the living room, she glanced up and said, "You're quiet tonight." I realized then she hadn't noticed how many nights I'd already been quiet. She hadn't seen the countless times I swallowed my hurt just to keep things together. That was my final confirmation. The next morning, I didn't ask for a kiss. I didn't try to hold her hand. I poured myself breakfast, set out a second cup of coffee for her, and left for work, not as a husband waiting for scraps of affection, but as a man who had finally decided to move forward. Maybe someday she'll realize what disappeared between us. Maybe she'll understand that it wasn't shouting or fights that ended us, but the slow death of small gestures. By then, it won't matter. My choice wasn't about punishing her. It was about saving myself. For years, I thought a kiss was just a kiss. Now I know it was everything. And when it vanished, so did we.